Hello and welcome back to my review of the Perfect Grade Red Frame. In this part of the review, we'll be taking an in-depth look at the individual limbs and parts, as well as its weapons. So here is the leg of the Perfect Grade with all of its armor attached. Starting from the bottom at the feet, you're going to be getting these rubbery stickers, the same as the Perfect Grade strikes, and these just help the feet gain traction while on the ground. In terms of articulation, you're just going to be able to do the tippy-toe bend to preserve from the inner frame. Nothing really going down. You're going to have to rely on the ankle for that, but you'll get some really cool movement. You'll notice that the parts on the front and the back here are going to be moving up and down accordingly as you move the ankles up and down. And if you move all the way up, you can also get a nice view of those chrome pistons. Similarly, if you rock the foot side to side, these side pieces will also move up and down accordingly. So here's the upper leg. I like how well they've hidden the fact that this is the Perfect Grade Strikes inner frame. You're only going to be seeing the frame through these two slits, as well as a bit through the back of the knee. So for the bend, you're going to get a very nice solid bend, lots of nice sliding armor pieces. You can even move the tip of the knee here even further. And you get some very nice detail no matter what angle you're looking at it from. I think my favorite part of this bend is going to be this white piece back here. Usually it's going to be on the back of the knee, but as you slide it, it's going to be moving to accommodate the fact that it needs more articulation. So while the bend itself isn't as impressive as the Perfect Grade Strikes, I think it still does look very good with all the armor sliding pieces and more inner frame exposed. So here is the assembled arm. Like the rest of the kit, the armor does a very good job hiding the strike inner frame, though I think it is the most obvious on the arms here. Now on the back, if you bend the upper arm forward a bit, you can expose a polycap, and you can use this to plug in the shield. This is kind of borrowed from the Perfect Grade Strikes. On the lower grades, like the Master Grade and the Real Grade, normally there'll just be an exposed peg here that you can use for the shield. So in terms of the bend, you're going to be preserving the great bend from the inner frame. Very nice sliding pieces here, as well as here, the biceps and the triceps. I really like how that looks. So here is the completed chest, and I have to say, overall, it looks pretty good. It's got a solid amount of detail. And my favorite part is how they managed to preserve being able to see small slits of the silver chrome pieces, though this is a bit more hidden than on the Perfect Grade Strikes. So in terms of the cockpit gimmick, again, on down here, you're just going to be sliding this part down, and then you'll grab the entire front chest piece, and then slide it down like so, and with that, you can see a tiny logule once again. Here is the quote-unquote backpack of the Perfect Grade Red Frame. I think that they did make some stylized changes to the design, mainly these two clear pieces, as well as the fact that the beam sabers, these charger racks, are no longer connected to the backpack itself. So this is left over from the Perfect Grade Strikes. You're going to be able to detach this and lower the entire backpack. And then you can attach, ideally the Red Frame's flight unit, but the only thing available in Perfect Grade officially is the AL Striker pack. But normally on that, they would also lower these beam saber handles as well. So it's one of those artistic liberties that they took while designing the Perfect Grade. So to reflect its pretty simple inner frame, the shoulder of the Perfect Grade Red Frame is also very, very simple. It's mainly just going to be two big white parts that you slap on top of the inner frame. So overall it looks pretty good, but compared to the Perfect Grade Strikes, again, it is kind of lacking. So here is the waist all assembled. I have to say it looks pretty good. You're just going to be slapping on some very large white pieces and some smaller red details. Well, overall, I think on the Perfect Grade, the waist looks pretty good. Compared to the proportions of some other grades, parts like the tail here and the front here is definitely way too elongated and massive. But in terms of articulation, you're going to be able to move these skirts up and down a bit like so. On the back here is going to be a hole for you to attach the beam rifle onto the back. And the most unique thing about this waist is that the side skirts are going to be able to slide open and expose a hole that you can peg in the sheath connection piece. So here is the head of the Perfect Grade, and I have to say it looks pretty amazing. The Red Frame Astray's head is definitely one of my favorite head designs in all of Gundam, and it absolutely does it justice here in the Perfect Grade. They did again take some design liberties with these clear bands over here, but overall I think it looks really good. You're going to be getting a nice black piece to poke in through the vent holes. And you are also going to be getting the LED gimmick, where you can place an LED into the eyes and it can glow through. I'm not really a big fan of LED gimmicks. They seem to be the most gimmicky of gimmicks. You turn them on once or twice and then you don't use it again. So I'm not going to bother with that, but just know that there is an option for the LED, and it should show through all the clear pieces like the eyes, the cameras, and the back camera. So now onto weapons. Here are probably the most boring ones, the beam sabers. They are a bit unique in that instead of being a round beam saber, it's going to be a relatively flat one. And the beam effect parts, if I had them, would also be a bit flatter than your regular round beam saber effect parts. But these are overall pretty boring. You're going to get two pieces that you slap together and then some nice holes here to plug into the peg on the hand. Probably never going to be using these, though they do look pretty good sticking out on the back. So here is the beam rifle. I must mention that it is also missing a piece here, mainly the top cap. You can kind of see how these pegs are designed to peg into something that covers the scope. But overall, not too big of a loss because I don't think I'll be displaying it with the beam rifle anyways. So in terms of articulation, you're going to be able to move the handle here all the way to the right and all the way to the left, solid 90-degree bend. And here is going to be a tab that you can pull out to attach onto the back of the Gundam. And interestingly enough, there's only going to be a hole on one side of the handle, so it's only really designed to go onto the right hand. So here is the shield. Whereas the Red Frame Astray's beam rifle is slightly different from the Strikes, this is going to be the same thing with just a color swap. But that's not really a bad thing. I think the shield looks very good. You get some very nice detail both on the back and on the front. In terms of movement, you're going to be able to slide this handle up and down. There is going to be a ratcheting mechanism that clicks into place and make sure that the handle is going to be secure. You can hold this up and down like so. Now in terms of the attachment, you're going to be able to rotate this 360 degrees. Very nice. And then you can detach it and turn it around. And this way you can plug this into the back of the Strike's arm and have its hand holding the handle over here. Now for the last neat gimmick, you're going to be able to lower the poke hole here. Normally when you slide it up, it's going to be covered with red, but when you slide it down, the red piece will slide down accordingly, and you're going to get a nice clear piece that the Astray can use to shoot down its enemies. So here is the sheath of the Gerber Straight. There's some very nice red details as well as two pieces of chrome for the tail end. Here at the top, you'll be getting some holes that you can use to peg into the palm of the red frame so you can actually hold it. And you can't really see it here, but you will be getting some rubber stickers like for the feet, but instead they'll be here at the top end. And what that allows is that when you sheath the katana itself, if you play around with it, it won't easily fall out of the sheath. So overall, a very nice looking sheath. So here is the Gerber Straight, the main attraction of the kit. And I have to say, it looks absolutely beautiful here. Definitely my favorite version of the Gerber Straight. So the blade itself is going to be silver chrome, but it's also going to have this nice pattern in it to mimic a real life katana. Unfortunately, you are going to be getting some not too good looking nub marks, though overall it's on the backside of the sword, so most of the time you won't really be seeing it. Here on the handle, the handguard as well as the bottom here are going to be made of very nice gold chrome. You get a nice little angry face sculpted in there. Here on the handle, you're going to have some parts that mimics the pattern of a regular katana handle, and you're also going to have two sets of holes that you can plug into the palm of the hand, so you can get some variation in terms of how you want to hold it. Now the coolest part is probably going to be this little gold pin here. So in real life katanas, you have the blade, and once you sheath it into the handle here, they hammer down a peg into the handle, and that way it secures the blade into the handle. So I think that it's very cool that they replicated it here. So here's just a quick look with the katana in the sheath. This thing is absolutely massive. It's going to be about as tall as the Gundam itself. So here's a contraption that's going to allow you to mount the Gerber Straight onto the waist. This right here is going to plug into the side skirt very easily. It itself has a nice bit of movement, but if you want, you can get even more, removing the entire white piece back and forth. Here is going to be a hook that you can use to, you can fold this down and it will block the katana from sliding all the way out. But the main thing is that this is going to slide out. You can see here on the back, it's just going to be these two things holding it together. And on either side is going to be some holes as well as some pegs that will match up with the holes and pegs on the sheath. So if you line everything up like so, it should click into place. And if you fold this down, it's going to hook onto the arm guard, so it can't come all the way out. And now you can mount this onto the waist. Thank you for watching the second part of my Perfect Grade Red Frame Astray review. In the next part, we'll be going over the entire Gundam all assembled, its posing, as well as my final verdict on the kit. Thank you, please comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.